Good afternoon. Happy Monday, everybody, or good evening if you're watching on the East Coast, and I love you for that. It's actually early evening, so not quite evening yet. Welcome to Talk Wrestling here on, of course, the Ecw Network, NoDQ.com's YouTube channel, and the Greg Cherry brand. We are simulcasting once again. It is Monday. It is that Manic Monday, and it is actually National Gratitude Day. Colin the Cleaver makes a very good point. Have that gratitude, kids. I put a gratitude post out this morning. I have had a marvelous day. And while we're talking about the Cleaver, Colin, Andrew, let us not forget the most important thing of the day. Hashtag Cherry for Quizlemania. All effing day long, people. All day long with that. So we will keep that up for now. And let's say somebody in Nevada posts her usual comment, and then that'll be bumped for sure. I appreciate everybody coming in early. I know it's a little early for those of you on the East Coast. You're used to me at 7, being at 7. I'm at 6 today. I'm expecting to be in the Thunderdome in an hour. I don't know if that's happening because I did get the confirmation email over the weekend, and this morning I got an email, or actually this afternoon I should say, I got an email saying, here's your checklist for the best of WWE Thunderdome experience. And I'm like, okay, where's my login? And I don't have that like I did last time, so I don't know if I'm going to be on Raw or not tonight, or at Raw, I should say, in attendance or not. So if I'm not, we'll just keep on going, baby. It doesn't matter to me. Don't give a shit. So we'll just move right along. It is, again, I'm grateful. I can't even express enough how grateful I am to everybody here, everybody on my network, on Aaron's channel, on Greg's channel, for sticking with me. A lot of you since the beginning. I mean, a lot of you guys I know have been watching my crazy shtick for over a decade, and it's a fantabulous feeling. It really is, and I sometimes devalue it in a public forum, and I kind of talk down to y'all, and that ain't right. So let me denounce that shit right now. You guys are the reason I sit here, is because of you guys out there watching on all three channels and across Facebook and Twitter, and if you're on Greg's Twitch, that's great too. I don't have a Twitch account that I actively use. I use it mainly to interact with the streamers that are friends of mine, like actually friends of mine. So I don't actually use it. So I may one day. Don't know yet. We'll see. Colin, been with me 13 years, brother. I appreciate it, man. I do. I really do. If you guys missed my watch along of the initial Talk Wrestling, you didn't miss much. No, it was a very interesting experience for me to go through and watch that again. But I did it, and I'll probably never do it again. maybe for the 15th anniversary. We'll see. It's been a crazy week. I'll tell you what. I don't know if you guys are familiar with what's going on out here in Southern California. I almost said South Carolina because I'm in South Carolina, clearly, with my Californian ways. But so we had a series of fires over the course of the last few days here in SoCal that displaced quite a few people, including my son's mother and her family, including my buddy Travis, who you guys have been familiar with through my exploits with Gary Yap and Wild and things like that. And I just remembered I didn't save the thing I was going to tell the story about with the belt, so let me get on that while I'm thinking about it. But yeah, it's been a crazy weekend. I was supposed to do a lot of recording this weekend with Jay and with Greg, and it just didn't happen. And it is on me to a certain extent, and I will own that shit. And it is what it is. However, you have to understand that I had a complete spaz in my head about the fact that my son's mother may be homeless, which is freaking bananas. That I would have to deal with that possibility of maybe having to have a talk with my son about his mom not having a place to be. That was a really screwed up place in my head that I didn't want to have to go, right? So work kind of took a back seat, as it often does on this channel. You guys know that it doesn't always work out that I stay on task. A lot of times it's because of lack of desire, or just not wanting to deal with shit. That one this weekend was just complete focus and trying not to freak out like freak out Randy Savage, right? So it was definitely a trying weekend for the most part, I will say. I will say, for the record, how about them Cowboys? Yes, the Cowboys did whoop that ass. No question about it. Actually, no, I take it back. They pulled one out of their ass. Let's be honest. The Cowboys were down 15 points at the beginning of the fourth quarter, I believe it was, and I could be mistaken on the actual number, but it was a high enough number where the game should have been freaking over for Atlanta, right? There's no reason the Falcons should have lost that game yesterday rather, and they did. And not only did they lose spectacularly, they lost by creating a complete on an onside kick. And I'll go more into that tomorrow on Stat Boys Sports Bar with Mikey. But my goodness, how about them Cowboys? It's a good day. So now what I am going to talk about, I did mention this on Twitter, and I hope that David Diaz is watching. And if he's not, he can watch on demand at another time, because it is definitely worth the tale I'm about to tell. The reason I bring up David Diaz is because earlier today he tweeted out a picture of a new replica belt that he had picked up in the course of the last little while. And that replica was of the WCW US Championship belt that the majority of us are most familiar with in the last decade of WCW. I mean, WCW was only around for a little over a decade, but the main WCW US belt they used after the purchase by Turner. The first person I remember using it is Lex Luger. And I remember very vividly the picture of him with the U.S. Championship belt and with the with that version of the U.S. Championship belt, and with the makeshift world title they had Dusty create out of one of his old belts. I forget which one it was. I think Western States Heritage. Don't quote me. I don't remember for sure. I haven't read the book in a very long time. I'm going to very soon about the big gold, but we'll get to that down the road. Anyway, while I was first breaking into working the indies, if you will, here in SoCal, mainly for one company, I'm not going to try to front about my exploits as if they're the greatest thing since sliced bread or whatever. But I was working for a gentleman named Gary Epp, and he ran a promotion that was known as Epic Pro Wrestling War is what the name of the company was back then. It's been Epic War, it's been Pro Wrestling War, it's been a few different things over the years. But that night, it was Epic War, just Epic War. And a gentleman named Marcus Riot, who his real name is Jarrell. I forget Jarrell's last name. I'm sorry, Jarrell. I apologize for being a horrible friend. Anyway, he and Gary and myself and Gary's significant other at the time, and Gary's daughter from a previous relationship, and my significant other, who was 5 months pregnant with Dylan, I think, at the time, maybe a little bit more. It was in December, so July to December, so whatever it is, 4 or 5 months. Anyway, we made a road trip along with our cameraman Jimbo out to All Pro Wrestling up in Hayward, California. And Marcus and a very notorious wrestler by the name of Teddy Hart, I'm sure you all have heard many times over the years. He and Marcus had just had a tag match against the Young Bucks at our local home base in New Hall, California, which is about that way, a few minutes. And I was their manager that night. So we took a road trip up to Hayward the following weekend to do some angles with APW, who you guys saw APW on Beyond the Mat quite extensively. Roland Alexander was the promoter at the time. We didn't deal with Roland as far as I remember. I don't know if Roland had passed by then. I could be wrong, but we dealt with their main booker. God, if I could, I'm a hate forgetting his name. I'm so bad with names for all that because there's a lot of head injuries over the years, so I'm sorry. Anyway, the point I'm trying to get to is this. When Marcus Riot was our champion at Epic War, his championship belt was represented by a replica of that WCW US championship that David Diaz tweeted out today. The one that Lex held, and Sting and Rude and everybody down the line, all the way up until the very end with Edge and Test unifying the titles at Survivor Series 2001. That version, there's been several configurations of that version, but the basic design was the same, right? Anyway, we had a replica of that for our championship belt with our stickers over it and shit. So during the course of the last match, the main event, which we were featured in, I was at ringside, and Gary had jumped in the ring to beef it up with the booker, who was on the other side of the ring. And Gary had our belt ripped out of his hand and took a vicious, and I mean, he took one straight in the face with that belt. The belt laid it right against the forehead, and he went flying for a loop. And I'll never forget as long as I live, because he landed right at my side. I'll never forget it. And when he got up, he whipped his hair back to get the hair out of his eyes, and he looked like this. Yeah. And proceeded to stumble about the arena, completely laid wide open, and got blood on my brand spanking new, pretty much, leather trench coat. You guys have seen my infamous 15-year-old trench coat on various shows of mine over the years, particularly XMV, obviously. And got it all over ringside. It was a mess. It was everywhere. So much so that he actually ended up inadvertently, he says, chasing Jade, my son's mother, down in her wheelchair, because her voice was a safe voice. He bolted out of the ring. We cleaned him up. It was just god awful, and we ended up going to Denny's to ring in the end of the night, celebrate the prosperous time we had. And Gary spent the entire time at Denny's like this, with various napkins over his forehead, trying to pat him down, make sure he didn't bleed out, while he's eating a goddamn Grand Slam, right? Then, am I still on? Hello, check. Just make sure I'm on here, because I hit that stupid button. You never know. Okay, I'm on. Very good. Anyway, then we drove home. Now, Hayward, if those of you are not aware of California geography, is very, very close to San Jose. I'm about 45 to an hour on a good day north of Los Angeles. So in the process of going home from Hayward to out near Six Flags, California, that's where we're pretty much at. I swallowed a bug. That was happy. Oh, Lord. Anyway, of all the people that can drive home, that have licenses, that aren't bleeding out and aren't freaked out about the bleeding, I get chosen to sit co-pilot to keep Gary awake, and Gary drives with an open wound the whole way, the 7-hour drive from Hayward to Six Flags. The strange thing is, that's still not the craziest night in my wrestling time. Not the craziest night I've ever had in the wrestling business. So that story will come at a later date, I'm sure. All right, let's see what we got here in the chat. Everybody's talking about their dinner. Adrian had Rice Krispies for bed, which is fantastic. Cereal for bed is never a bad thing, in my opinion. The Cleaver's making dinner, as he do on Monday afternoons when we're doing Talk Wrestling. I love it. Report Card Radio says, hey, John, could I join you on live? I finally got my computer working. We can link so my subs can join too. I think you're talking to me. Not this show. I mean, maybe later. I don't have it set up where I can do that. So you'll have to. What I need you to do, Report Card Radio, is message me privately some way or another, and I will send you the link back to join the show. And we'll go from. I think I can. I don't know if I can do that without you being in here already as a guest. Because I can private message my guests that are already in the green room, but I can't private message you guys watching live. So, yeah, it says John. Really, you wrote John. I don't know what I'm going to say. Christian Ramirez says, I'll be watching Monday Night Football tonight to watch them Raiders lose and record Raw. Tonight's a must-see game. Would have to agree with that. The Raiders need it big time. Also, when is the next Wrestling Trivia Challenge matchup for Greg? The next match for Greg will be 1 week from Friday, October 2nd. The first Friday of October, as we're getting closer and closer to day 1000, baby. And I've got everybody in the queue ready to go. We're all booked up for the season now. It's a matter of getting them taped, getting them edited, getting them published. Greg, honestly, is a little down, and you're going to see that on this week's Rewind. We did that earlier today. We put that in the can. He's a little bummed. He didn't lose Friday on our show, but he is slightly less heavy in the belt department as of the weekend, and we'll let him explain Wednesday morning on the Greg Cherry Show with all of that. Again, that's Wednesday, by the way. Wednesday will now be the Greg Cherry Show day here on our networks, Jeff Beacham Network, No DQ, and the Greg Cherry brand. Also, Wednesdays midday will be my full live recap of the previous nights, which will be Tuesday nights for those of you that are keeping track. United Wrestling Network primetime live pay-per-views, which I was going to do them live in the moment, but it's awfully late for you guys. It's late even for us here in the West Coast because I got a family that's trying to go to sleep, and if they're done at 7:30 or so, and we're trying to do dinner and do the damn thing. Reporter Radio, you are like not good with the names today. Greg lost, and he had 3 going in, so keep that in mind. I don't know who you're talking about, Roy, but let me know. We'll go from there. So I am going to assume, based on the fact I don't have an email, I'm going to check my inbox one more time for the moment, and then we'll let it be for a little while and check back again toward the end of the hour. But it doesn't look good that I'm going to be in the Thunderdome, so you guys have got me for longer than you were expecting today. So there you go. Bonus, Jeff. Anyway, as you guys saw before we went on the air live, a lot of good things coming up on the Jeff Meacham Network side of things. We've got 5 really solid weeks of Wrestling Rewind coming up with Greg, and that'll be on Thursdays, by the way. We're moving Rewind to Thursdays starting this week to accommodate the Greg Cherry Show being on Wednesdays. That way, I honestly, selfishly, I want to show up every day. I want something new and different on my channel every single day of the week, Monday through Friday. So if I move Rewind to Thursdays and I do my NWA UWN show on Wednesday morning, afternoons, whatever it's going to be, then I got a show every day. I love it. Oh, it's the Saints saying. Got it, Roy. Okay, I don't follow the Saints, so let me put it this way. As much as I encourage Mikey's sports bar, and I do, because that's part of my channel, I'm not a huge, diehard, I got to see every football game. Got to see, if the Cowboys aren't on and it's not an LA team, kind of whatever about it, honestly. I really am. Report Card Radio says, so Jeff, where does Miro go in AEW now that he's back as the best man? Does he face off with Sabian first at Full Gear? I would say so. That's the most logical progression of the story. Am I not thinking right? You bring him in as Sabian's best man. He's got a ton of face heat, if that makes any sense. He has a lot of love from the audience, so you don't keep him with Kip very long because Kip's freaking heat magnet. So you don't leave Miro with him very long. But you break him up right away, and you got a feud for Full Gear. Boom, written in stone, baby. It's beautiful. It's beautiful, baby. It flows. It flows naturally like the ocean, like the wave in the ocean, baby. It just flows like the river. Yeah. I'm having a lot of Dusty-isms because I'm listening to a lot of Bruce Pritchard and Eric Bischoff, so you'll have to forgive me if I go into Dusty mode, I should say, because I'm hearing a lot of Dream and a lot of the Dream from Bruce and Eric. So, by the way, I know you guys, I'm sure follow me on Twitter. Were quite annoyed with me on this yesterday with my podcast binge. I went nuts. I got through all my Conrad podcasts at freeshows.com. Can't recommend Mitch enough. I listened to Bear With Us with Carmella and Corey Graves. I listened to Wild On with the lady known as Taylor Wilde back in the day, and she's going for Taylor Wilde again. And just kind of went crazy. I wanted to listen to every podcast I had not caught up on yet, and it took the entire day. So much so, I originally planned to do another day of Batman binging like I did Saturday. It didn't work out that way. I was strictly wrestling podcasts. or a wrestling related podcast, because Matt and Leah's Carmella and Corey were wrestling per se. Yeah. So back on track today. I've got, I think I've got one in the queue. Let me double check that because I think it's in there. It is. Oh, that's fantastic. Apparently, Tony Schiavone and Conrad did a watch along of the UK One and Only 1997 pay-per-view. So I am watching that for sure tomorrow. Wowzers. Maybe even tonight during Raw. If I don't get Thunderdome, I'll watch it before Raw comes on for us. There we go. That's what I'll do. So, Adrian says, did you watch The Last Dance on Netflix? I did not. I have not watched it yet. I'm still trying to get caught up on my Disney Plus that I'm behind on, and other Netflix things that I've been promising to binge on. Gotham, for a long time. Gotham. So eventually I'll get to Gotham, and we'll get her done. Broker Radio says, which podcast do you enjoy more, Girl and JR or 83 Weeks? I haven't gotten to Girl and JR. 83 Weeks is a favorite, and they've grown after that exposure on AEW's YouTube channel. I love both of them. Okay, let me just say that flat out now. I also love that both Jim Ross and Eric Bischoff retweet or favorite or like or whatever when I mention their shows, because I get a kick out of the fact that those guys are acknowledging the fact that I'm acknowledging them. That's really kind of special for me growing up when I grew up, right? So I will say your question basically is a unanswerable one, because I enjoy them both equally in different ways. I really enjoy Bischoff tearing Maeve Deltzer up in NorCal, a new asshole every other show. It's fantastic. If you listen to this show that I listened to over the weekend, when they talk about Fireball 95, he lays into that journalist, quote unquote, beautifully. I can't recommend that show when it goes up enough. So listen to it. It's good. And JR, they've coined a phrase called red ass JR on that show that Conrad has said multiple times. That's when JR gets really fired up. Just fantastic. I think it's Fallball 95 for Parker Radio. I'm pretty sure. Fallball 95. Anyway, but JR gets rolling on something and gets fired up, and he just gets all red ass and gets all bad out of shape. That's the best JR on the podcast. So they're both great. I love all of Conrad's shows. I even like Bruce's show. And people, I crapped on Bruce quite a bit when I came back to the public eye because they stole our Papa Top gimmick on that show. But you know what? Bruce works for Vince McMahon. What am I going to do? Try to sue him for a Papa Top? Fuck that. You're right. Well, there's no one F-bomb. There it is, Aaron. There it is. One F-bomb. I'm good. That's all I get. Nerdy Doofy says, hey, Jeff, been a fan of Talk Wrestling since 2008. Just wondering what your favorite podcast channel is. I love Girl and JR. Also talk as Jericho. Ad-free shows. Conrad's Network is my favorite. I do love Chris Jericho's show. I mentioned Carmella and Corey Graves' show, Bear With Us, which is a tremendous relationship-centric show. If you're in a new relationship or you're in a stagnant relationship, that's the way to go, in my opinion, if you're a wrestling fan. They know their stuff. Taylor Wilds is good. I also enjoy other podcasts. I listen to a Star Trek centric podcast that used to be hosted by Sarah Lofton and Aaron Eisenberg before Aaron passed away last year. I like that show. Back to the Future of the Podcast with Brad Gilmore. Brad Gilmore, if you guys don't know that name offhand, and you may or may not, I don't know. Brad is Booker T's podcast right-hand man. He also helps do work for Booker's promotion there in Houston when they're running. He is the man that got me access, or gave me access. He's the guy. He gave me access to the podcast event they had for the Houston hurricane relief out here in LA 3 years ago for No Mercy Weekend. And I met Kurt Angle. I met David Arquette again. I met Renee Paquette, Corey Graves, of course. I got reacquainted with Eli Drake, and I met Dustin Rhodes again. I met Booker and Charmel. I saw my buddy Rob and Katie Forbes, and it was just a tremendously fun night. And I'm using that word tremendous a lot. I'm sorry. It was a great night. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I got a lot of material that's on Aaron's YouTube channel, by the way. It's on the YouTube channel under Jeff. If you search Jeff Meacham Booker T, it's the first thing that pops up every single time. That's how I find it, and just watch it back for shits and giggles. I like a lot of different podcasts. I also listen to a lot of different things in music. I just now got access to SiriusXM radio through my dad's contract with his car. So I've been listening to Chris's music all weekend on the holiday Christmas channel. So I love it. It's fun. Favorite Back to the Future, Big G says 1, 2, or 3. God damn, it's like picking a favorite kid. You're a horrible person, Jeff. I will say 2. But I do love all 3 of them very, very much. I wish there would have been more. And I know that the Bobs don't want to, and I respect that. But I wish there wouldn't. I wish they would do more. Let's see. Somebody said, I gotta throw it up there. Where'd it go? There it is. How about them Cowboys? That was a crazy win. Yes, it was. The Falcons done screwed up. Holy moly. 95 is next week if you're not on adfreeshows.com, Reporter Radio. That's the thing. I have the subscription to Ad-Free Shows, so I hear early. I hear them early. So when you hear Fall Brawl 95 and they get into talking about Meltzer, it ain't pretty. It ain't pretty. He also tells him in 94, though. I will grant that, because they talk about no, it's at one point they mentioned something about I think it was 95, because they were talking about Sabu coming in and Eric Bischoff mentioning the Sheik, and which didn't happen in the way that Meltzer said it. So okay. Here, I always throw it out there. You know, people ask me what I want, wish list or whatever. There is a T-shirt on Bruce Pritchard's Pro Wrestling Tees. It's kind of looks like the NWO logo, but it says FDM with stars on it. Figure out what that means, right? If somebody were to buy me a 3X of that, I would wear it at least once a week on the shows, because I can't stand him. I really don't like him at all. I think he's a horribly inflated personality in this business. I think he gets way too much credit for shit he does not know. Terrible person. Anyway. And again, Brandon said about the Cowboys crazy win. Indeed, sir. They did the Dustin Rhodes, Dusty, and Nasty Boys main event. Right. That was Fall 94. Let's see here. 95 is up on ad free. Let me just double check. Because you know what? I could very well be talking out of my rear end. It would not surprise me in the slightest. Okay. Fall Brawl 95, Fall Brawl.wargames 95 went up on Saturday on the Ad-Free Shows podcast feed. I have an Apple Podcast, my little subscriber link that I have. So that is up if you want to listen to it. Add corny shows too, says Todd. He does a good Destiny impersonation. Well, I am not really wanting to listen to Jim Cornette if I can help it. I think Jim just he's not my bag anymore. I used to love Jim Cornette and his material, but he's very much not my cup of tea anymore. Bro, Jeff, what do you want to see from the Hurt Business this week after their semi-face turn last week? More of the same. I'm not saying turn them face. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is just keep whooping that ass all the time. Somebody, I think Aaron posted it, or somebody, I don't know who runs the damn channel anymore, the No DQ Instagram feed. I think I saw it either on there or on Twitter. Shelton is relevant. Cedric is relevant. Ricochet is relevant again. MVP is relevant again. Bobby Lashley is a champion again, and very relevant. That wasn't happening before these guys got together. That's 5 guys you've elevated in the span of, well, we've been on the shelf here, 6 months? A little less? That you can't do that in this day and age, it seems like. Nobody can seem to manufacture heat for guys or, quality sense of over for these guys. And these 5 guys got it in fucking spades now. It's ridiculous. Organic. Who's your favorite guest Stone Cold has had on his? I've only ever seen the full episodes that they've had on the network between Broken Skull Sessions and the Stone Cold podcast they had video form prior to that. My favorite Broken Skull Sessions by far was The Undertaker. My goodness, was that damn show amazing. Love that. I can't recommend that one enough either. And yes, it is Big G's anniversary, so happy anniversary to Big G and his lovely lady. Hoping we get out of here in April. And go to a wedding. Go do the thing. After Amway Center, Raw and SmackDown needs to be old school every week. I don't know about that. Busted Open's on series. I know. I'm very aware. I'm actually going to listen to Busted Open tomorrow. I'm going to check it out. I do have one kid biologically. So, but picking between Back to Future movies, like picking between your favorite kids, because I've got several nieces and nephews that I just adore tremendously. So, Big G said about the Steelers. Hey, we'll see you tonight. See what happens. Let's see here. I know you're an LA Kings fan, Jeff. Just wondering if you could have watched any of the Stanley Cup playoffs, even though the Kings. I've watched the whole way. The only game I've missed that I wanted to see, honestly, was Game 1 of the final the other night because I was just so damn busy. And honestly, I don't want to see the Dallas Star. I know people in Texas are going to be pissed at me for this. I really don't give a shit. I will have a physical bout of vomiting and shitting myself if Corey Perry raises the Stanley Cup again. I will. I promise I will do it. So go Tampa Bay Lightning. Said what I said. Psycho J Black says, this may be personal, but what is your ethnic background? Where did the surname Meacham come from? You know, I don't actually know that information off the top of my head. My mom has done a ton of the ancestry stuff and kind of traced us back into ye olden times. I'd have to get with her on that and get back to you on that, Psycho Jet Black. But I know we're definitely we got the Scots in us and the Germans and we all kinds of stuff. It's we have all kinds of things going on in our gene pool, shall we say. Okay, when was Jim Cornette your cup of tea? When he was running Jim Hart? That's when I liked him best. Yeah, when he was running Camp Cornette with Owen and Davey and Vader, that was my favorite Jim Cornette. He was really good with Yoko. And a time where Yoko needed somebody to translate into the American audience, because Fuji, we all love Mr. Fuji. I will love Mr. Fuji till the day I die. One of the funniest guys ever. But Jimmy gave Yoko that little bit of American rub he needed it, right? Especially toward the end of his run as champion. Great addition to the team. If done correctly, Bob says, do you think Sasha and Bayley could headline WrestleMania next year? Yes. I said it over the weekend. Denise Salcedo. God bless you, Denise. I appreciate you saying this. And if you give her a follow on Twitter, she's worth the follow. She's a great talent too. She's a great reviewer of wrestling shows and a podcast host. I love her to pieces. She put it out there. Give them the WrestleMania moment. Boom. Let them have their moment in the sun. Even if it's in the goddamn Thunderdome. Let them have the Mania main event. They deserve it. They do. I'm sorry, but they do. All right. What was your favorite war game? WWE or NXT TakeOver? Jeez. Okay. First of all, it's WCW without question. My favorite war games match is actually the 1996 one because there was so much drama and so much build. And where was Sting's loyalty? And would the NWO get what they wanted? And where did Luger and Sam with the Horsemen? It was just so many freaking layers to that damn onion. And it peeled very nicely at the end. And it led to the introduction of the Sting Crow character, which, by the way, okay, so a lot of you guys know this, a lot of you guys don't. I am currently spearheading a project to get a video history of the original Big Gold Belt done. Okay. I made several phone calls over the last a few days, I should say. And one of those calls was to a gentleman who's featured in the book. I won't give his name out right now, but I will down the line. I called him expecting a 2-minute phone call. I talked to him for over 90 minutes. And it was mostly him talking and telling me the story of how involved he was with WCW. So that's going to be a fun show, a fun video project I end up completing when it gets completed. And when I do get that guy recorded and do get him to talk on the air with me, I will definitely share it with you guys because it is worth its weight in gold. I promise you that. Let's see here. Michael says, in your opinion, what is the most underrated WrestleMania ever? For me, it's 21. I would have to agree. 21 does not get near the love that 20 does. And I dare say it's equal footing. I know people love 20, and 20 is great. 20 is probably the last great WrestleMania, right? 21 was a solid show. Yes, the main event world title matches were kind of a mess. Yes, the sumo match was hot garbage. And yes, Trish and Christie was what it was. But the booking, the presentation, the storylines, everything building up to it, and the execution just went like clockwork. Beautiful show. Love it. Wish I was there. Wish I would have been there. Didn't get to go. Let's see. Are you and Adrian still planning to do that debate? That is on Aaron and Adrian coordinating time, talking from SoCal to Europe. Get on Aaron's ass on that one. That's all I have to say about that. Which one of your teams gives you a heart attack like my Steelers do? The friggin' Kings. The friggin' Kings. For many years now, I have blamed my hair loss and my obesity on having a child and dealing with his mother. The Kings have been a huge part of that too. They really have. Who the hell's calling me? Jesus. Okay, I need to address that. Hang on one second, guys. Let me take a time out right now. Crap, I need to do this. Hang on one second. Let me just answer this call real quick because I need to let this person know that I am not ignoring them. I'm just on the air. I am on the air. Okay, there we go. Yeah, the Kings have definitely contributed to my stress levels for sure, without question. The Kings are the worst for me. What is your favorite wrestling video games all time? Okay, not a huge gamer now. Back when it was mainly on PS2 and the N64. My favorite all-time wrestling video game is definitely No Mercy, followed very, very closely by SmackDown vs. Raw 2007. I can send you the link. It's up to you. LOL. Okay, so let's see here. Is it better? Jeez, I hate when the thing skips. Pisses me off. Is it better to be a wrestler that jobs every week on TV than not being booked at all? It depends how you lose. And I know people are, wins, losses don't matter, and a lot of people I listen to will say the exact same thing. Hang on a second, guys. Sorry. I'm already 38 minutes in. Just kind of shooting the breeze. Okay, well, hell, fuck it. I guess we're going to have a guest. Isn't that special? Just, bring her on in. Anyway, back in the day, I was, I love SmackDown vs. Raw 2007. That was my most recent game I played on a full-time basis. But since what happened was, they changed the configuration of the controls to those games for PlayStation, and I couldn't get them back the way I wanted them, so I stopped doing it. I've answered that question about Sting and The Undertaker before many times, so please refer back to previous incarnations of my shows. Thank you very much. Most underrated SummerSlam, Cole, that's a hard one. I have to go back and watch a few of them to really dive into that, right? So there's that. Roy says, spill the tea, Jeff. What happened with you and your baby mother? Just difference of lifestyles. We fell out of love. It's as simple as that. We didn't love each other anymore. And it happens all the time. I see it all the time, and it sucks. So, let's see. Have you seen the new David Arquette documentary? I want to see it, but is it worth buying, renting? I have not seen it myself, but if I know David Arquette, like I know David Arquette, it's worth buying, renting, owning, seeing more than once, all of it. I wanted to go see it so bad at the drive-in when it was here a couple weeks ago. I didn't get the opportunity. It pisses me off. Why does Mania 32 get a reputation as being one of the worst in recent history? Because it was so goddamn long, Psycho Jet Black. It took forever. We were at Wade's watching that show on West Coast time until like almost 11 o'clock p.m. That's bull. And then we had to tape a show, and then I had to drive down to my home. That was bullshit. That show took forever. It's terrible. Now, it wasn't a bad show necessarily. It was just long, and the main event was garbage. The Roman and Hunter should have been in there. They should have, and I'm sorry. It's there you go. Son Gosh says this Thursday marks the 30th anniversary of Stone Cold, Rock, and Just Joe backstage segment. Does this moment still crack? Yes. Okay. No lie. I listened to JR's podcast about Unforgiven 2000 and watched that show. Oh my God, poor Joey Legend. That guy, Jesus, for real, couldn't catch a break. It's just terrible. Let's see. What do we have here? Have you tried the McDonald's new spicy chicken McNuggets yet? I do not like. Well, okay, I don't mind spicy foods. My system does. Not a fan of the spicy foods at all. Just wow, yikes. I would love to be able to have spicy foods, and I have a very mild palate, taste bud wise, but I can deal with it on some things. It can't be super duper hot like some freaking ghost chip or some shit, but it really depends. So I'll try them once. How about that? But as of right now, not so much. Whew. That was a lot of questions in 45 minutes. Holy moly. Or 42, I should say. I forgot we did the commercials beforehand. So I sent the link to this person. She asked to be on the show. So we'll see. We'll see if she pops in. Sting versus The Undertaker. If Warrior did not, damn it, easy for me to say. Sting versus The Ultimate Warrior. If Warrior did not pass and both men win their prime in WWE, who do you think would win? Sting. Warrior's prime was being carried by Hogan and being carried by Randy. It's as simple as that. I know we shouldn't shit on people who have passed on. I don't care. Like, Warrior was never good. He never had a prime where he was good. He had a personality. I'm not going to deny that. But Sting was the complete package. In my humble opinion, the Ultimate Warrior was signed by the WWF because Sting was picked up by Crockett. You have to allow access to your mic and your camera. Yes, there's no contest there for me. Ruben Garcia. Ruben, the man who left us all sweating last Friday. God bless you, brother. Who do you have in the final? In these finals? I don't care. Lakers are going to win anyway. I don't like basketball. I want the Lakers to win just because. Who's a better wrestler? Psycho Jetbox says Kurt Angle or Mr. Perfect. God, better wrestler? Kurt Angle. Better all-around WWF entertainer? Honestly, also Kurt Angle. My boy says, do you know the quarterback for the Jets, Sam Darnold's grandpa was? I didn't know that, Bubba. There you go. Dylan spouting me the knowledge there. Good job, Bubba. Appreciate that. Statboy says, I hope you all visit Statboy Sports Bar tomorrow. Lots of sports stuff to talk about. Yes, we're going to talk about the NFL. We're going to talk about the NBA. We're going to talk about Major League Baseball. Playoff picture early, maybe. We'll see. So there you go. We also are going to talk about other things. So stay tuned. That's tomorrow, same time, 6 Eastern. So stay tuned for that tomorrow on the Jeff Meacham Network. Let's see. Do you ever think they'll ever do another mainstream pay-per-view live in the UK from Rob Shepard? I would like to think that, but I don't know. I hope so for you guys' sake, but probably not. Was Warrior the Ryback of his generation? I don't even give Ryback that much credit. I don't. Colin says, meatloaf or Salisbury steak? Depends who's cooking it, brother. My mom's meatloaf is the business. Salisbury steak, you could pretty much either really make well or really screw up. Meatloaf, kind of in the same boat, but there's also different ways to have meatloaf presented. And my mom does a great job with a lot of her things. She makes a great meatballs out of meatloaf preparation. Mwah. To die for. What tag team would I bring back to the WWE from Brando? Let's say right now. Okay, tag teams that are still active. How about that? I would bring in... God, I mean, I honestly don't mind the way things are going with both companies. They're progressing better. So, Psycho J Black says, who should be the top monster of AEW? Brian Cage, Lance Archer, Luchasaurus, or Wardlow? Lance Archer. That guy has been talented since the day I saw him in TNA a decade and a half ago. More than that now. That guy is money. He's got Jake the Snake Roberts with him, which is also money, even in 2020. Just, Anyway, sorry. Let's see. Rupak says, should WWE do WrestleMania in Mexico or the UK? I know the company was in WrestleManias in Canada, for examples, 6 and 18. Kind of piggyback off the question we had a second ago, Rupak. I would like to see them do a WrestleMania in the United Kingdom. Mexico, I don't know how Mexico's state is right now as far as their what do you call it, government and how they're taking care of shit out there. So I don't know. All right, we're going to bring in our guest for today to ask her this question. So let me just do that right now. Lisa, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Wonderful. This is my buddy Lisa. You guys don't know who she is. It's not, overly valuable who she is, but she is a dear friend who lives in Toronto. She's a healthcare professional up there, so she knows all about this COVID crap and has been educating my dumb American ass about it quite frequently. So we love her for that down here. Question came up that I was going to throw to you first, since I know you're a fan of this guy. Rob Shepard says, if Kane kept the mask on for a full run, would he be a bigger legend?
Yes.
I agree. I heard you talking about this maybe with Greg on a rewind we're going to do. I think we did rewind for the October 1st for next week. So on that show, we had the Kane Jericho match from Raw in 02 or whatever it was. And we talked about the fact that he really hit his stride when he took the mask off and, reinvigorated the psycho part of him, but still kept the work rate up. But to your point, I think if they'd kept the mask on him and not dumbed the mask down, like gradually lessen the clothing, lessen the mask until it was like basically a half mask, I think it would have been loads better for him. What do you think on that? I think we lost her. Okay. Well, Lisa, can you hear me? I do believe we've lost Lisa. She's in the car, so that's why she's not on camera. So keep that in mind also. Let's see here. Hi, hello. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Sorry, I just had to take the mystery out of everything. It wasn't the same after that.
Right. Yeah. It's. I was trying to say that once they started, gradually, moving the mask back and having less of a mask, just awful. Let's see here. Here we go. Somebody brought the Ultimate Warrior earlier, talking about was Warrior. What happened with Warrior versus Sting? Name one good Warrior match besides Hulk Hogan and the Macho Man.
I can't.
Exactly. See, she gets it.
No, the main one that sticks out for me is Hogan and the Warrior. I think it was WrestleMania 6.
Yep.
And that was like my favorite match. And then him and Macho Man. Other than that, I couldn't really tell you who he was.
Right. Now, were you a fan when WrestleMania 6 happened?
I was.
Look at you going way back in the machine.
Yeah,
I didn't know that about you. As far as I knew, you got brought in because of who you knew, so I didn't know. So.
No, I was probably about. I'm not even going to say how old I was.
No, don't do that. No.
But yes, I remember it. Me and my brother, my parents watching it. It was
nice.
Epic. It was epic.
Was there an effort made to go to the show, or was this too expensive?
There was an effort. It sold out really, really quickly, really fast.
Right. I remember Adam Copeland's mom talking about it. It was just a freaking nightmare trying to get the tickets for her and for the two of them. So
it wasn't fun, and my parents just like, no, we'll get it, we'll watch it. Oh yeah.
There you go. Well, it's funny, when WrestleMania 21 came out here, God, 15 years ago, it makes you feel old saying that. I wanted to go because I knew for a fact they were going to put the belt on John. I knew he was going to beat Bradshaw. I knew Dave was going to beat Hunter. I knew it was going to happen. But for some reason, I held back and went to the Hall of Fame instead, which I don't regret one bit because the Hall of Fame was the most amazing night I've had in this business that I wasn't directly involved in producing, right? But WrestleMania 21 after after Angle and Kurt and Shawn kind of fell off the rails. So
yeah.
Here you go. Rick Rude for the Warrior.
I would still go with the Warrior. I was never really a big Rick Rude fan.
Wow, that's funny because I thought
it wasn't my thing. It was no.
Yeah, I thought that if Warrior would have been a little more bendy, he and Rude could have done serious money.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep. Here you go. Here's a question I feel I can ask you in particular because you may have a better perspective on it than I do. Psychojet Black says, what's going on with Bianca Belair? Why isn't she being pushed on TV? That's a great question because they keep bringing her in and out on the thing with Montez and what the hell's Montez's partner's name? Shit. Oh God. Anyway, with the Street Profits, and then she keeps disappearing again. Like, what's the deal with eating that bullshit?
Like, why don't they utilize her on TV?
Right.
My opinion is because she's so well liked and so well over, is she needs a crowd.
Right. Okay.
Right. That's just my take on it. Like, you need that. I mean, this virtual stuff. I mean, you know my opinion on it and all, but.
Right.
But yeah, just some of them just need that crowd. Like, it's just not the thing.
Well, you can't
just have nothing for her because they just keep going back to the same old stuff. So.
Right. So answer me this then, and this is completely just pulling out of my ass here as I hear you say that answer about the fans. Do you think that's why Punk and WWE have held off on really trying to come to the table? Because without a crowd, there's no CM Punk. I mean, honestly.
No, he's definitely one that you need the crowd behind him or against him.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that's probably why they put things on hold and see what happens. Hopefully.
There you go. So this question comes from down the hall, believe it or not. This is from Dylan Meacham Wedge. He says, who do you think would be a good trade between WWE and AEW?
Good trade. I honestly don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
Like
most of the AEW have already been in WWE, right? Like they're already been there, done their thing, moved on.
Right,
WWE doesn't have that. I don't know.
Like, I don't know if I would make a trade because everybody that's with each company just fits really well right now.
Yeah, that's where I'm sitting too. Like, I don't think they have anybody that could jump ship. Like, you know what I mean?
Right. No, exactly. I understand what you're saying. Yep.
Yeah, I think they're both fine the way they are right now.
I would have to agree with that. Let me answer this real quick, and then I'll get back to you here. Hang on one second. It says, are you going to get an interview with Sarah Priebus on the show? Greg Cherry actually interviewed Sarah about a week or so ago on his show, the Greg Cherry Show. I think it was on the Wednesday show. It may have been a Monday show, whatever it was. He's the one that brought Sarah into our plane of vision and doing the voiceover for the trivia. So if anybody's going to interview Sarah, it's definitely going to be Greg. But I will say this. I have been talking to Sarah Priebus. Stay tuned. So there's that. Okay. Here you go. My buddy Colin in Cleveland says Kenny Omega for Seth Rollins in a trade.
I would say no.
I would say no right now, only because Seth would go on paternity leave. It's you're losing right now anyway. So.
Yeah, I would say definitely not right now. Down the road, yes, but I think, like I said, I think they're fine where they are right now. Like, they're comfortable. They're doing their thing. They can go so far.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you push them, creative on board and does what they're supposed to be doing with them.
Exactly.
Honestly, have really big stars that are there right now. It's just a matter of what they do with them.
Yeah, and honestly, the thing is, at the end of the day, Kenny Omega is an EVP. They're not going to let an executive of the company go for basically an on-camera talent, is what Seth. I mean, I'm not discounting Seth's value by any means, because Seth Rollins is an amazing guy no matter what role he's in. But it's not trading a talent for talent. It's trading a talent for an executive. It doesn't work that way. So. Let's see what we got here. What are your opinions on Will Hobbs? I think the guy has plenty of potential to go far in AEW. I have only seen Will once so far. I like what I see. I don't know if you've seen much of him. I don't know how much AEW actually get to watch. So,
I don't get to see too much of it, honestly.
That's a bummer.
I catch bits and parts here and there. Yeah.
Yeah. So Rob Shepard says, always thought Undertaker and Stone Cold Steve Austin's feud in 98-99 was ruined because Austin couldn't take the tombstone. I mean, it's hard to argue that because they really went every damn place they could go with that feud except Taker dropping him on his damn head, like for real, because they did everything. Would you agree with that? We lost signal again. Poopy. Damn these car phones.
I'm here. Hello?
I got you. There we go. There you're back. Hi. Okay. So you were saying.
No, I definitely agree. Like, with The Undertaker, you need the tombstone. Like, you just need it. Yep. It's just not a complete match or anything without it. So, it definitely took away from it. The fact that Stone Cold couldn't take one. Yeah.
I honestly felt that when he switched to the American Badass, the switch to the last ride was good. I also feel that when he switched back, keeping the last ride as a setup was also a good idea.
Yeah.
But you can't have the dead man or the ministry guy or the evil Beelzebub guy without the tombstone. It doesn't work.
No, you can't.
So let's see here. There you go. What if Seth Rollins and Jon Moxley's roles were swapped?
Don't they play similar roles as it is?
Well, I mean, not right now because Seth's.
Well, I mean, they did, right? I mean, they're trying something new with Seth, and I mean, I guess it's going okay.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm not a big fan of it, but.
Well, yeah, it's you either love that or you don't, because there's a lot of shaky ground to walk on there with the Rollins thing right now. But
especially now, like if you're going back in like early 2000s and you wanted to do this, fine, perfect. Like,
oh yeah, for sure.
If you're trying to do it now,
right?
There's a lot of fine lines that you can't really cross without. Well, a lot of people on to ask, right?
I wonder if they cross these lines like they are right now because there's no crowd to, throw shit at the ring or really get after Seth in the parking lot or whatever at the end of the show.
Oh, definitely.
Because, I mean, if you bring out a religious zealot, even 10 years ago, you're getting tire slash, you're getting you're getting screwed up in the parking lot for the show. It's happening. So, but yeah, and as far as Jon Moxley has always been batshit crazy. It's just how far he turns the volume up. Like in CZW,
let him go, right?
Yeah, it's like in combat he was a friggin' maniac and using light tubes and barbed wire. He was absolutely bananas. They brought him into the Florida. He dialed it way the hell down, and then kept turning it back up gradually in WWE. And then now that he's with AEW, he's almost full blown Mox now. So
yeah, you have to kind of tone it down there, right?
Well, I mean, you have to when you work for McMahon, and I get that. That's not a knock on Vince, and people shit on Vince, and that's whatever. But you can't work for a publicly traded multinational conglomerate and have matches with light tubes and barbed wire on the weekly. It ain't gonna happen. So
no.
Yeah.
But now he can. So.
Right, exactly, because Tony don't give a shit. All right, here we go. I love this question. Thank you so much, Ecw Match, for answering this, because I really wanted to ask you this when it happened, Lise. Did Seth Rollins get too much hate for Hell in a Cell against The Fiend?
Sorry, did he get what?
Too much hate.
Against The Fiend?
Yeah, for the Cell match. I honestly think
these are good questions.
Yeah, I mean, they fed the fans fed him a lot of shit he didn't deserve. That wasn't his call,
I was gonna say,
right?
A lot of it was uncalled for.
Right.
Yeah, I would say yes.
It's and the fact of the matter is, we all heap that huge pile of crap on Seth when in reality they gave the belt to Bray. And then they drop it to frickin' Goldberg. Like, ugh.
They ruined that.
The entire booking of the Fiend. The minute the Rollins feud started, it was downhill. And that's not knocking Seth. That's not knocking Braun. That's not knocking Roman. I am knocking Goldberg. Fuck you. I don't care. I don't like him. I can't stand him. Whatever. But they should not have put him in that situation at all. Period.
No.
And it's. I hope whatever they're doing this Alexa Bliss thing and turning her into a disciple of Bray, go for it, please.
If they do it right. Absolutely. She definitely needs a change. And she can pull it off. I think she can reach.
She totally can. Yeah.
Her sister Abigail, they're better than Brave. Sorry, but they look good.
She's pulled off 2 Killer Sister Abigail's last 2 weeks. God bless her, man. And you know what? People tend to sleep on Lexi because she's this little dainty little fitness model that got a career in WWE, and they've kind of slept on her, but she's got shit she tapped into. Man. What's that?
They probably got a dark side, right? Let it out.
Hey, you know what? Seriously, people, everyone is. What's that?
They can't be all dainty and pretty forever.
That's the thing. It's like every woman, according to us idiot guys, every woman has her dark side. Let Lexi's out, man. Let her out to play.
I like what they're doing with her right now. Like, they're taking it slow. You're seeing bits and parts of it. It's not like a full blown in your face and then it's over, right? So like, but as long as they keep it, like, that's the thing, is they bring it out and then they dump all over it. So she's gonna lose to like somebody that she shouldn't be, and there goes that, right? Yeah,
this leads me back to a question that came up before you came on the air. Do you hold Bayley and Sashi? Wow, holy shit, Jeff. Bayley and Sasha to WrestleMania.
Do I hope they go to WrestleMania?
Yes.
No.
Really? Why?
I don't know. Personally, I'm over it.
Whoa!
And I think just because they've been, I don't know. I don't like. I've never really been a big Bayley fan. I'll put that out there.
Okay.
Sasha, yes, and they have put on like iconic matches.
Yep.
I think they can do it again. I just think they've waited too long. If that makes any sense.
It does make sense that if they were going to pull this trigger and prolong it, it should have been going into WrestleMania this year. That's the thing.
Yeah.
She's been back. Sasha's been back from her little, timeout or whatever the hell you want to call it for well over a year now. Like, it should have already happened.
Her Mandalorian appearances.
Well, no, not even that, because that was what it was. Now, she purposely took a little time out after Mania last year, if you recall. She kind of went out and pouted.
That's when they should have started something.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had for weeks and weeks and weeks, them as they're the champions and blah blah blah. I don't know. I think me personally, I'm over it.
Okay.
It should have happened already. But I mean,
well,
see if I can pull it off.
I am of the opinion, and I said this earlier, that if they keep doing the because they had Sasha, they had Bayley cut her promo, and they had her injure Sasha the week before, and then they had her reattack Sasha Friday night. If they keep doing that, where they keep Sasha injured or compromised, they can get this to April or March. They really can if they do it right, or even to January where she wins the Rumble.
Yeah.
But I
would say January at least. Do it that way. If it prolongs any longer,
right?
I think people are just going to get tired of it, right?
Yeah. The only way it works is if you have Sasha get so completely bent out of shape that she goes in there and tears ass in the Rumble and says, "All right, Bayley, I'll see you at Mania." Much like I did with Shawn 10 years ago, where Shawn did everything he could to get the Undertaker back at WrestleMania. And when he lost in the Rumble match, he lost his damn mind.
Yeah.
And they had him interfere in the Chamber match, and that's what drove that match. They need Sasha to be Shawn Michaels crazy. They do.
Yes. Yeah.
So here is a question you're going to probably get crap for later with people that are in your circle, but I'm going to ask anyway because I don't care. Better career, Randy Orton or Edge?
Oh, geez. That's not fair. It's not a fair question.
Cue the heat calls in 3, 2.
I honestly like them both.
Right. No, I know you do. No, I know.
Oh, Jesus. Why do you do this to me, Jeff?
It's all Michael Gonzalez's fault. He asked it on the air. It's all his fault.
Better career. I'm going to probably take a lot of heat, and I'm going to go with Edge.
Oh, boy. Okay, here we go. Everybody
I love Randy. Like, don't get me wrong, but he's got so much more, right? I mean, I'm not saying Edge doesn't, but we all know, like, he doesn't have that much tank and left. And as of right now, this point, I would say Edge.
Okay.
2 years from now, definitely Randy.
Okay.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah. You guys can't see it on screen because she's a little icon, but I can hear the squirm in her voice right now because I've known her for 10 years. So she's tripping balls in the car right now. She's losing her mind. It's fun. Okay, so now I've been a royal dick to you. Let's see here. Here we go. All right. Let's see. I don't know why you're asking this one, but I guess I'll answer it first. Midnight Black reacts to, wow, that's an interesting name, says best wrestler from Texas. My three from Texas are, let's see, my favorite overall wrestler from Texas is definitely Steve Austin. I'll say that right now. However, the best pure wrestler, the best all-around wrestling personality from Texas has to be Shawn Michaels.
I would have to agree there. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I've had a long talk with myself a lot in the last year or so about Ric Flair and about Shawn Michaels and my continued defiant stance on Ric Flair being the best of all time. It's like, yeah, but Shawn's right there too, Jeff. He is. So I think if you compare them side by side, Shawn Michaels just barely gets that overall better grade in terms of checking all the boxes, if that makes any sense. Yeah. Now, I will say, I left out a very important name. I'm going to get crap for it. I'm sure you will too, now that I'm going to say it. The Undertaker. Oops.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely up there. But again, Shawn checks all the boxes. Taker's just Taker. He's great. We love Taker. Okay, let's see here. That's a silly question. I'm not going to ask it. I mean, it's dumb. I'll tell you off air. Anyway, Jeff Hardy might be using the Willow gimmick in WWE. If he does, how do you see him WWE booking it? I would put him with the Fiend.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's what we've talked about that on, I think, on this show last week or so. I would put the Willow with the Fiend. Honestly, at this point, you've got nowhere else to go with the Fiend. You've jobbed him out so many damn times. Jeff Hardy, when he gets turned loose, needs to have something to creatively feed off of. I say Bray and Jeff can do beautiful things in Gimmick. They would.
Yes, definitely.
There you go. All right, here you go. Here, since you're an old school fan, you'll appreciate this one. Rob Shepard says, what did you think when WCW spoiled the WWF results when Mick Foley won the title? Still makes me laugh to this day.
Sorry.
That's okay.
What did I think of the spoof?
No. What would you think of the Nitro spoiling Foley's title win on the air?
Oh, I thought that was a dick move.
Right on. Oh man, that's fantastic. Dick move. Hashtag. Okay, wait. There's the hashtag for the show. Hashtag dick move. Here we go. All right. Yeah, it really was. But it's so funny. It bit them square in the ass like within seconds. So that was fantastic.
No, I remember watching like WCW back then, and they would always have Bischoff up at the beginning of WWE spoilers, and then they would tell you the whole. I'm like, shut up.
Right. Now, would
you competing and all, but
now would you consider yourself a fan of both primarily, or were you definitely a WWF girl back in the day?
I would honestly say I'm gonna get crap for this too, but I kind of want both.
That's okay.
Right? I watched both, and I enjoyed watching, Nitro and stuff. So
honestly, I think the people that would give you crap were fans of both too, so it's okay. I guarantee it was one of them was. So
but I went to both. So
exactly. So D and C asked me, how do you ask questions? You put them in comments right here on the, you're over here, so let's do that. Right there in the comments on the show, just put them in the YouTube comments like you just did when you asked the question, and I'll throw it up there for you. There you go. Very simple. Here we go. Why didn't WWE present Undertaker and Stone Cold at WrestleMania? Because the booking didn't work out that way. The flow of story didn't work out where they were at Mania together. It's simple as that. We got them at SummerSlam. If you're not going to get the main match at WrestleMania, you're going to get it at SummerSlam. That's just how it usually pans out. And people are going to say, well, we got Foley and Rock 600 times. Foley versus Rock, honestly, and Foley said this himself in his book. Foley was designed as a placeholder to A, let Steve rest, and B, keep the heat on Rocky until Mania, because he was always starting to get cheers again.
Yep.
And you can't roll into Philadelphia with the ultimate babyface and the heels getting cheers too. That shit don't work.
No.
So, now 2001, when Rock's the babyface, but he rolls into Texas, it works because you're not going to get heat on Steve unless maybe Vince does something. Oh wait, they did that, and it still didn't work. So, yeah. Oh my God. Okay. Oh shit. Here we go. Who's more entertaining, Ryback or Ahmed Johnson?
Who's more entertaining? Neither one of them are entertaining.
I honestly think Big T had a better moveset than Skippy. I'll be honest with you. But
if I had to pick one, I would say Ahmed Johnson.
Yeah, for real.
Ryback was just flat. Yeah,
for real. And to give Tony complete credit, honestly, if it were not for Ahmed Johnson existing, we wouldn't have a expression on Eric Bischoff's podcast that led to the Sesame Street Deathmatch T-shirt.
Yeah, that's right.
They fought over letter T, people. Super Bowl 2000. I'm not kidding. Look it up. It's a real thing. Scary shit. So, favorite ECW match. Okay, for me, my favorite ECW match is definitely God. Right now, I'll go with Rob Van Dam versus Bam Bam Bigelow for the ECW TV Championship when Rob won the title. Now, if we're talking about WWE CW, which I know you're not talking about, but I'll answer anyway, you guys know my answer to that. Come on.
Yeah, I was going to say, come on, John.
Come on. I was supposed to be there, for Christ's sakes. Come on. Give me a break. Oh, that's okay. He's not with her anymore anyway, so it really doesn't matter. Oh, Lord. Wherever you are, SVD, I'm sorry if I came off an asshole. I was the one trying to be. All right, so let's see. Michael Gonzalez says, what was the biggest match of these three, in your opinion? Rock versus Cena, Rock versus Hogan, 1, Rock versus Austin, WrestleMania 17, not counting the buy rate of the shows. Okay, now I know that this is deep water for you.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, of those three, the first, the 17 match with Rock and Austin, and then Rock Hogan, and the first Rock Cena. God, I mean, can you honestly argue with a match that was built for a freaking year? And can you honestly argue with a match that, admittedly, from John Cena himself said, set the entire course of the next year for him on a downward spiral and led to a major redemption? I think that's money all over the place. Rock Hogan, yeah, it was what it was, but it fell flat within 2 weeks because Hogan turned babyface and it was over. Rock Austin, you had the big heel turn that didn't work. You had Rock go away for the summer or for part of the summer, and then the whole the invasion thing completely deflated everything. So if you factor in everything but the actual buy rate of the shows, you still go with Rock and John, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
And I Rock and John, it's
we'll leave it at that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I like this. I don't understand this question, but sure. With certain NFL teams with certain NFL teams having fans in their stadiums, do you think Vince has any regrets at Thunderdome? No.
Yes.
Oh, he does. Oh, go ahead. By all means, go ahead.
Because he's losing it's costing him more,
right,
to have the Thunderdome go up and going than it would be to actually have fans there. he would make more money instead of losing money.
Even though he's paying Amway a flat fee? Or is he?
I would still say yes. I think that he would rather have fans there. Bring back some of the stars, like I said earlier, that need the fans.
Right.
Like I've been on the Thunderdome. Well, I haven't. My son has.
Right.
And it's different. Like it's not even the same for him trying to watch and get excited and get into it, because he's like, what do I do?
Yeah, it's one of those things where I didn't know they would have producer in my ear telling me how to. It's like, I'm not. Are you coaching me how to cheer? What the fuck is this?
Yeah,
that kind of bug. And I know that you know better, and so do I. But a lot of people are going like, what the hell? So it was weird.
But yeah, like my son, they were telling him, was saying, oh, well, like with Randy, my son is a Randy fan. Right. And like, boo him, and he's cheering. He's like, no, you got to boo. And he's like, I'm going to cheer.
Right, yeah.
He's like arguing with the guy. I'm like, you're going to get kicked out. Like, just,
yeah,
I mean, he's 12, right? Just do what you want to do, right?
Right.
They're going to kick a 12-year-old off because he's not booing, then.
Well, that would be very indicative of how the company is acting as usual. Okay. Now, I'm going to ask you a question. You can answer if you want. If you want to pass, you can pass.
One more. And then
okay. This is a big one for sure. With John losing to The Fiend at WrestleMania, should he come back as a heel or a version of Hollywood Cena?
No. Use my words carefully. Definitely as a heel.
Yes. Yes.
Whether you're going to get the Hollywood Cena, I don't know if it'll go that far, but definitely a heel.
I don't feel the need to have him be Hollywood guy, because that's what he shit on Dwayne so much for. So why do that? Why do something? If you shit on him for that and do it, you're a hypocrite, and it doesn't work.
Yes. No.
So.
But definitely, clues are there.
Yeah.
A trend is going, if you're paying attention. Definitely a heel.
Very good. Well, let's see, 7:30. You're getting close to. Are you going to watch the show live, or are you? What are you up to tonight?
I'm not sure yet. I will probably try to watch it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not. Well, if I was I was supposed to have a call time, but I haven't got one, so I guess I'm not going to be in the show tonight. So I'll be I'll be watching. Ironically enough, I'll be listening to Tony Schiavone's podcast, covering an old show on my coast. So there you go.
All right. Well, I will let you go. We'll talk later. It was fun.
I will definitely message you when I'm off the air for sure, love.
Yes, perfect. We'll talk later. Bye.
All right, bye. Well, there you go. Miss Lisa out of Toronto. Love her to pieces. One of my favorite people in the world. And while we're on topic of Canada, I will go to Mike Gonzalez and say No Way Out 03 was a fun show. And Michael Gonzalez also says, I felt Rock Hogan from No Way Out was better than WrestleMania. I would agree. I think it was a better told story. With Rock being the definitive bad guy and Hulk being the definitive good guy. For sure. So there you go. Daniel says favorite ECW championship matches that had a Joey Styles oh my god moment with a good finish. God. Again, RVD John Cena. That's my favorite match. And there's definitely oh my god moments in that one for sure. Also, I will say, Taz versus Mike Awesome versus Sado Tanaka from Anarchy Rules 99 when Taz lost the title. Definitely, oh my god, moment there. If you only had his first show at Survivor Series 96 and his last squash match at WrestleMania 32 to go based off of, how would you describe the evolution of The Rock? Jeez. Nil? Non-existent? Terrible? Rob Shipper. Rock sold the center the best. Shane McMahon did, in my opinion, Rob. But who sold it the worst? Vince. Vince? No, I'm sorry. Not Vince. I promised I wouldn't say this person's name on my shows because I didn't want to turn the shows into a thing. But the person who took a stunner at the very end of the celebration of his involvement at WrestleMania 23. Worst stunner ever. Even worse than Linda McMahon's. Even worse than that. No, Dylan, I haven't seen the butt fumble. You have to show me off air, buddy. I have no idea what the hell you're talking about. The worst match I've ever seen in person. Now that can be very contextual. The worst match I had to endure, if you want to call it enduring, in person. And it wasn't because the guys were bad or whatever. It was very hard to sit through. There was a death match in XPW, their very last show they ever ran in LA as a company owned by Rob Black. And it was a no rope, barbed wire rope death match between Supreme, the king of the death match, and Ian Rotten. It was on my birthday, 2003, March 1st. So 17 years ago this year, which is crazy. I will never, ever forget that match because it was so gory and so extreme. And Tammy Sitch and I took turns dry heaving. We were so grossed out. It was bad, like really, really bad. The worst match I've seen in person as far as just a shitty match, I haven't really seen a lot of shitty matches. I've been pretty blessed. So there you go. Did I like Backlash 03? I've never actually seen the whole show, only the Goldberg Rock match. So I can't comment on Backlash 03 yet. I will get to that in due time. Worst show, Shotgun Saturday Night or WCW Worldwide? Shotgun Saturday Night was awesome. I love that show. As a, whatever it was, 13, 14-year-old kid, that show was awesome. I also like Worldwide. I like the syndication. I liked the set. I liked the Disney MGM makeup. I love both shows, and I'm rare and probably on that island alone, but I enjoy both shows thoroughly. And note of trivia, Worldwide was actually the last WCW show ever broadcast. It was broadcast April 1st, 2001, the day of WrestleMania. And it was Scott Hudson, and I forget who was with him, but they were the last time WCW was ever on the air. So there you go. A little trivia for you. We're an hour and a half in almost. Thank you, Lisa, so much for calling. I was like, they're not going to bring me into the Thunderdome. I'm so sad. Adrian says, did I enjoy Kevin Nash versus Triple H with Mick Foley as referee? I did. I enjoyed that match. And again, I'm probably on a very small group of people in that match, but I enjoyed it. I really did. Adam says, Tony Khan gets all this heat being a money mark, but wasn't Ted Turner AOL TNT money marks toward the last year or two? After the 83-week era, why don't people bring it up? Okay. Without crapping on you, because I'm not trying to, Adam, so let me preface that. The inner workings of WCW, with the exception of Ted Turner himself, did not want WCW to succeed. They didn't. They had no desire. I'm going to see if I can scoot back here a little bit. There we go. Ted Turner wanted the company to succeed. The people in WCW wanted the company to succeed. To a certain extent, the network heads of TNT and TBS wanted to succeed. But the majority of Turner Broadcasting, and then Time Warner, and then AOL Time Warner, couldn't give a shit about wrestling. They didn't care. And they proved that in August of 98 when they called Eric Bischoff into a meeting with 15 people he'd never seen before, whatever it was. And they were going to tell him 2 years into this ridiculous run how he was going to run his company. Shit. They didn't give a shit. So I don't see the Time Warner conglomerate, AOL, being money marks or money whores or whatever. Ted Turner loved wrestling because wrestling helped build the Superstation. I will say that Tony Khan is much more of a fan than he is a professional wrestling writer or booker, whatever the hell you want to call him. And he does have a lot of money to throw into AEW, and he's not shy to use it. And I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing. There you go. Psychojet Black says, who's your favorite Disney, favorite and least favorite, easy for me to say, Disney princess? My favorite Disney princess is Cinderella. There's a picture on my Facebook that I'm slowly moving the pictures to this Facebook that you're watching this on now. I was, I think, either 3 or 4 years old at Disneyland, and I saw Cinderella for the first time, and I melted like a freaking marshmallow on a fire. I fell in love with Cinderella at 3 years old. I love her to pieces. Always have, always will. My least favorite is Pocahontas. And the reason for that is because I don't feel she should have been utilized as a Disney princess. I think her representation in the movie was grossly inaccurate in terms of historical purposes, and I don't feel it should have happened. So there you go. Let's see what we got here. Midnight Black React says, have you checked out any of the super shows, ECW-wise, on the WWE Network? I have. I love them. ECW on the network is a guilty pleasure. I know people say it's not really guilty because everybody loves ECW, but the super shows are great too. That's early ECW. That's like before it really started getting extreme, right? Danny Milano says, favorite horror movie kills from Jason, Freddy, and Michael. Okay. I don't have a favorite Jason or Freddy kill yet. Wednesday night, I start my binge. Jason, Freddy, Michael, and Chucky. All the way through Halloween. Every single movie in every single series. So, ask me November 1st, and I'll let you know. Or actually, whatever Monday that is, November 2nd. I will answer that question then. Did I ever see Royal Rumble 1990? I did. I didn't mind that show so much. Let's see here. Okay, Bubba, you don't put this stuff on the air, please. You gotta text me. Dylan, don't put this stuff on the air. Come on, man. Not like a bad father. Jesus. The most underrated wrestling promotion ever was probably, right now I feel it's God. Underrated promotion ever. I mean, people never really gave WCW a chance, even when they were cooking. Right? So maybe that's my answer. I don't know. The new team, Psychojet Black says, what should the new name of the Washington football team be? The Washington Generals. If you know, you know. Adrian says, $1 Million Man or Jake Roberts, who had the better career, WWF-wise? The $1 Million Man. Without question. DiBiase had more longevity. He kept himself together, and he was doing really well. Okay, my phone died. Very good. DNC Entertainment says, what was your favorite show or pay-per-view to watch? My favorite pay-per-view to watch. I can put the pay-per-view on anytime and never get bored of it. I always enjoy watching it every single time. There's a couple of them, actually. ECW, the first One Night Stand. Definitely can watch it anytime. WrestleMania 4. Money in the Bank 2011. Sorry, John. SummerSlam 2013. NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 1. Survivor Series 2018. I was at NXT War Games. I was at. There's been a few. Favorite Von Erich. Didn't really get the whole see a lot of Von Erich. That's Kerry, so that's kind of a hard answer for me because I only really saw Kerry most of Kerry's stuff. I didn't see anybody else. How would you rank WrestleMania 30 to 36? I'd have to go back and watch them again. Psychojet Black. I have checked out so much during these last few WrestleManias because it's become more about work than anything else. I'll be honest with you. And it's really just hard to get through these. This year's WrestleMania was really tough because I sat here at this desk and it was just a long couple of days. Man. So we'll see how things play out if they go back to arena crowds and I'm actually at WrestleMania, which will be wonderful, or if I'm sitting here at my desk again. We'll see. As far as ranking the last 7, they've all been decent, not the best ever, and I think 30 is the best of those of that bunch. My favorite faction, by and large, is the NWO. I will forever throw that for life up, man. For life, forever. The Horsemen get an honorable nod. I love the Horsemen. There you go. Michael, I'll agree with that. WrestleMania 30 and 31 were good, and the rest are average. I will co-sign on that. Absolutely. Thoughts on being Pete Dunn? Jesus Christ, Porky Pig moment. Cleaver Colin Andrews says, thoughts on Pete Dunn being an NXT UK producer? If they need to find something for Pete to do, go for it. Pete's got a great mind. He's young and he's hungry and he knows what he's talking about. The guy is phenomenal and he's grossly underappreciated, in my opinion, by the world en masse. And he definitely will be a great producer for NXT UK. The greatest WrestleMania, in my opinion, DNC, is probably. See, that's hard because I've been to 2. One was bad, one was decent. So I don't, I don't know. The greatest WrestleMania, I would say, to this day, is probably WrestleMania 17. Let's see. Most underrated SummerSlam match of all time from Adrian. Benoit versus Orton for me, for obvious reasons, but it will always get overlooked. Yeah, I agree. People, remember, that had a shelf life of 3 years. And I laugh when I say it, but it's true. That match was aired for 3 years, and then nobody talks about it because of what happened with Chris Benoit. Grossly great match. Phenomenal match. Unbelievable. Great match. NWO for life, brother. What is your opinion when Shawn Michaels joined the NWO? I mean, if they're going to be in the WWF, why not? WWE, why not? He was part of the clique. He was the only guy in the clique besides Hunter that didn't join, so okay, why not? Midnight says, did I like Flying Brian better or Crazy Brian Pillman? God, I loved Flying Brian in my early fan days. But the Loose Cannon was a tremendous talent and had so much meat in the bone. It was cut short tragically. So I love them both equally for different reasons. Like I said that earlier also. What wrestler would be best cast for a horror movie past or present? I've already said this, and it's happened. Tyler Mane, who at one point worked for WCW, was cast as Michael Myers. I said that before it even happened, and I can't prove it, but I did say it. He's got the build. He's got the look. He's just he was my first Michael Myers that I saw the full movie of. So it was great casting there. My boy wants to know who I think is the most underrated football player. I don't know, kiddo. I don't watch enough football to answer that. By the way, if your leg's not checked out, come in here and I'll take a look at it. Okay. Which group was better, the LWO or BWO? The BWO, baby. The LWO was literally every Mexican guy on the roster. Like the fuck? Who cares? I might get thrown off. I might get in trouble. The BWO was funny. The BWO was entertaining. The LWO kind of was what it was, right? SummerSlam 96 will always be the best for Colin because he was there. That's the same thing with WrestleMania 24 for me. Unforgiven 02 was great for me. WrestleMania 2000, it was a shit show, was great for me. NXT War Games in 18, Survivor Series 18, the SummerSlams that were here. I love those shows. So What is the better show right now? DNC says Raw or SmackDown. Oh God. Honestly, I don't know. I would have to say. They're both great in their own way, but I prefer SmackDown right now. Better career, Mike Gonzalez says. John Cena or Steve Austin? Ugh, John Cena. And that's going to catch heat. I know. I don't care. Paul Heyman said it best on, there was an episode of ECW Exposed or some stupid shit, whatever name it was, when they first added a bunch of ECW content to the network. And him and Joey Styles were talking about this, who Paul would have liked to have had in the old ECW. And Paul said John Cena. And Joey kind of cockeyed looked at him and he goes, why would I want him? You know, he was, at that time, he'd been in top for 10 years. He'd been the guy for 10 years. Austin, at his best, 3 years. The Rock, at his best, 4 years. Hunter hasn't been a top guy for 25. He's been up and down. Undertaker, you know, in and out, not full-time, and the media, and everything like that. So, John Cena is my answer. And Will asked, my top 3 hardcore wrestlers of all time, I'm right there with you. Terry Funk, Mick Foley, and Sabu. That's the easy answer right there. Zeke Jackson or Mason Ryan? Ezekiel Jackson. And that's all I'm going to say. Better tag team, Midnight Express, Rock and Roll Express. Choosing kids again. Jesus. If you could pick, where are we going? If you could pick one Ric Flair match to have seen live, what would it have been? Well, I did see Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair from WrestleMania, so I'd pick that. Since I already did. I would have loved to have been there for Bash at the Beach when Hogan faced Flair the first time on pay-per-view. I did see them in 91 at a house show at the LA Sports Arena, and I did see them on that run prior to Halloween Havoc. Actually, the weekend before Halloween Havoc, believe it or not, at the Anaheim Convention Center when Hogan was WWE champion and Flair had Sherry and Hogan had Dave Sullivan. So there you go. Do I prefer Crow Sting or 1990 era Sting? Oh God, honestly, the Crow. I do. Sorry, Steve. Why don't people talk about Rock Austin versus from 19? I don't know. I thought that was the best match of the 3. I really do. It told a great story, and considering how we know beat the shit Steve Austin was in that match is a freaking gem. It's ridiculous how good that match is, considering how bad beat up Steve Austin was. Awesome. I was at SummerSlam when Jeff Hardy and CM Punk had a ladder match. So was I. Oh, wait, no. 09. I wasn't. Just kidding. I was there next year. I could have been there, but I wasn't. I give Cena credit for being the top guy, Michael says, at a time when people wanted the wrestling business closed down for good. Yep. He had to carry that shit during the Benoit thing, during the steroid thing, during all that. He was the guy. And he shouldered it like a fucking champ. Sorry, Aaron. I don't care anymore. Whatever. Greatest debut and greatest returns in history. Okay, the greatest debut ever was Hogan in 94 in WCW. I don't care if that makes me look like a fanboy. Don't care. The greatest return, Triple H in 2002. By far. With a close second being John Cena at the Royal Rumble in 2008. Is Roman Reigns bigger than Cena? Bigger? Yes. Bigger stature? No. Was Sting slightly overrated? I don't think so. Favorite food to enjoy while watching wrestling? All the food? All the foods? Do you think Triple H's return in 2002 was the best pop ever? Yep. The best pop I saw. The best pop I was part of was the following year in February when Steve Austin came back. That shit was loud. You talk about a pop? Holy moly. What's the best match you've seen with no story build up? And what's the best storyline you've seen to culminate in a weak match? God. I want to say that for next week, because that's a really good question, but I want to make sure I address it properly. What do you think of Kevin Sullivan as a pro wrestler and promoter? Kevin, he's the devil, man. He's evil. I love Kevin Sullivan. Dig it. Kevin Sullivan was so believable as the devil, as the Satanist. He had me wondering for a minute with Chris Benoit. Okay, that's how much I believed in Kevin Sullivan's demonic character. I freaking bought in. Okay, big time. Booking, tremendous talent. A lot of good stuff, a lot of bad stuff, but a lot of good stuff. So, just a second here. Let's see. What was the worst finish? Hang on. Worst finish. Ryback CM Punk on the cell or Fiend Rollins? Fiend Rollins. Just flat shit. Terrible. Anthony says, Ali should be revealed as leader of Retribution and be revealed as the hacker. Sure. Why not? We're going to do that anyway, right? Ernest Cook, how many matches does Steve Austin have? I said that way fast. I'm sorry. If you're on Anchor, I am sorry. How many matches, Ernest Cook says, did Steve Austin have in ECW? I don't know. It could have been more than a handful, if I recall correctly. Hardy Boys or Dudley Boys from Rob Shepard? Dudley Boys. Michael Gonzalez. Did I like the Rumble match from 2005? Yes, I did. Was ICP or No Limit Soldiers worse in WCW? No Limit Soldiers. Let's see here. Okay, so there's that. Okay. I think we're going to cap it there. Make sure I didn't get a freaking WWE email one more time. I did not. I guess I'm not watching Raw in the Thunderdome. All right, one more question. What is your opinion on the Vince Russo shoot at Hogan on Bash at the Beach? Disappointing. Unnecessary. Damn near killed a lot of things. Really did. Very unfortunate. All right. I guess a positive one. Thoughts on the return of the Ring of Honor Pure Championship returning? Okay, that's a lot of returns there. Who do you think will be the champion of the Ring of Honor Pure Tournament? I said this on Twitter. Russ Taylor. My boy from SoCal. RT, baby. And I love that it's back. I love the Pure title. Love it. Can't wait to see it contested for. Good stuff. All right. Just to throw it out there really quick here, let me get a little plug in here. First of all, of course, after Raw tonight on the East Coast, you can check out our buddy Aaron Rift over at NoDQ.com for all the latest news and features in the world of professional wrestling. And you can check out Aaron on YouTube at Aaron Rift NoDQ for a full recap of Monday Night Raw. I won't be there because I'm not going to watch until 8 o'clock my time. So I will be checking into that a little bit later on in the night. You can find any and all of our shows, again, at anchor.fm/FHM Network. Again, can't emphasize enough how important it is that you guys check us out on Anchor. Because if you are on Anchor right now, I appreciate it very much. But if you're not, I encourage you to, because right now, that's what's paying me. The YouTube stuff, the video stuff is fun. I enjoy seeing you guys. You can't see me while I'm doing that because I was kind of down for that. You guys, it's great to see you guys interacting with and everything. And, but again, you know, it's not paying the bills yet. So that is going on there. So I will leave you guys now with once again, a preview of what's to come in the next few weeks with the Jet Beacham Network. Tomorrow, don't forget, right here on the Jet Beacham Network side of things at 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific, Step Boys Sports Bar is open for business with a full recap of NFL Week 2, some NBA stuff, some Major League Baseball stuff, and maybe, just maybe, a little bit of Stanley Cup talk. We shall see. For now, I am Jeff Beacham. This is Talk Wrestling. We will see you guys next week right here on the Jet Beacham Network.